Imagine waking up each day, uncertain of where your next meal will come from. This is not a hypothetical scenario for many, it's a harsh reality that defines their existence. Poverty, in its cruelest form, is a relentless struggle, an ongoing battle against circumstances often beyond one's control. Poverty is like a chain that binds and restricts, not just confining individuals but entire communities. It's a silent epidemic that stealthily seeps into every facet of life, eroding the potential for growth, prosperity, and progress. It's an invisible barrier that stifles dreams, ambitions, and aspirations. Let's take a journey down memory lane. Growing up in a small town, I had a friend named Tom. Tom's family was poor. They lived in a dilapidated house, the paint chipped off, windows broken, and a front yard that hadn't seen care in years. Despite their circumstances, Tom's parents worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs to keep food on the table. But the specter of poverty was always looming, casting a long, ominous shadow over their lives. This isn't just Tom's story, it's a narrative shared by countless individuals across the globe. It's the story of the single mother working 2 jobs to provide for her kids, the story of the young man forced to drop out of school to support his family, the story of the elderly couple barely scraping by on a meager pension. Poverty is not simply about not having enough money, it's about the deprivation of opportunities, the absence of hope, and the crushing weight of systemic inequalities. It's about the doors that remain closed, the paths that remain untraveled, and the dreams that remain unfulfilled. Poverty is not a personal failing, it's a systemic failure. A failure of societies and systems that fail to provide for their most vulnerable. It's a failure that we, as global citizens, must collectively acknowledge and address. Poverty is not just a state of being, it's a reality that millions around the world grapple with every day. As we delve deeper into this topic, let's remember that behind every statistic, there's a human face, a story, a life affected by poverty. In our conversation today, we're not just discussing poverty, we're talking about people, their lives, their struggles, and their hopes for a better future. Poverty is more than just a lack of money. It's a complex issue that extends beyond mere financial difficulties, seeping into every aspect of life, economically, socially, and psychologically. Let's delve into what poverty truly means. Economically, poverty is the state of not having enough material possessions or income for a person's needs. It's the inability to afford basic necessities like food, shelter, and healthcare. But poverty isn't solely an economic issue. It has social dimensions too. People living in poverty often find themselves excluded from activities and opportunities that most of us take for granted. They may face stigmatization, discrimination, and isolation, widening the gap between them and the rest of society. Moreover, poverty has a psychological dimension that's often overlooked. The constant stress of living paycheck to paycheck, worrying about where the next meal will come from, or how the rent will be paid, can lead to mental health issues like anxiety and depression. It's a heavy burden that wears down a person's spirit and sense of self-worth. So, what contributes to poverty? There are numerous factors and they often intertwine in a complex web that's tough to untangle. Lack of education is a major one. Without access to quality education, individuals may struggle to gain the skills and knowledge needed to secure well-paying jobs. Systemic inequalities also play a significant role. These are deeply ingrained societal structures that unfairly disadvantage certain groups, making it difficult for them to break out of the poverty cycle. Unemployment, underemployment, and low wages are other contributing factors. Without a stable, decent-paying job, individuals and families can easily slip into poverty, and once they're there, it can be incredibly hard to climb out. In essence, poverty is a multi-dimensional issue that goes beyond simple monetary scarcity. It's a social and psychological problem as much as it is an economic one, and its causes are deeply rooted in our society's structures and systems. Poverty is multifaceted, and understanding its dimensions is the first step towards combating it. The ripple effects of poverty are far-reaching and can be deeply destructive. Imagine being trapped in a cycle that feels inescapable. It's a cycle that doesn't just affect one person but entire families, communities, and even generations. This is the reality for those living in poverty. The detrimental effects of poverty are not limited to an inability to meet basic needs such as food, shelter, and clothing. Poverty affects almost every aspect of life, turning it into a struggle. The cycle of poverty is a particularly cruel consequence. Often, children born into poverty are set up to live their entire lives in the same conditions. It's like a dark cloud that hangs over their future, casting a shadow on their dreams and aspirations. It's a cycle that perpetuates itself, creating a legacy of disadvantage. But the effects of poverty extend beyond the tangible. Poverty can also be a mental and emotional battle. It's a chronic stressor that can lead to a host of mental health challenges. Imagine the constant worry, the sleepless nights, the feelings of hopelessness. These are the hidden scars of poverty, the invisible wounds that cut deep. Moreover, poverty doesn't just affect individuals or families, it impacts society as a whole. Areas with high poverty rates often struggle with issues like crime, poor health, and lower educational attainment. It's a ripple effect that can destabilize entire communities, reinforcing the cycle of poverty and making it even harder to break free. Yet, amidst the bleak reality, it's crucial to remember that poverty isn't a choice, nor is it a reflection of someone's worth or abilities. It's a systemic issue, a social problem that requires collective action and understanding. And understanding is the first step. By acknowledging the profound consequences of poverty, we can begin to address it, to challenge it, and to change it. Poverty leaves scars, both visible and invisible, on those it touches. But with awareness, empathy, and action, we can work towards a future where no one has to bear these scars. Being poor is not just about having less, it's about having fewer opportunities. Poverty is a multifaceted issue, and those living in it face a myriad of challenges that extend far beyond simply not having enough money. Imagine trying to secure a decent education when your family can't afford textbooks, let alone tuition fees. The challenge of accessing quality education is a major hurdle for many impoverished individuals. This lack of education then perpetuates the cycle of poverty as it limits job opportunities and earning potential. Now let's consider healthcare. For those living in poverty, visiting a doctor or affording medication is often a luxury they can't afford. This lack of access to healthcare not only affects their physical well-being but also their ability to work and provide for their families. And speaking of work, let's not forget about the employment challenges faced by the poor. Even when jobs are available, they are often low-paying with little or no benefits and offer no security or room for advancement. This lack of stable employment makes it incredibly hard for individuals to escape the clutches of poverty. But these are not the only challenges. Poverty also comes with systemic barriers and discrimination. Society often stigmatizes poverty, and this can lead to discrimination in housing, employment, and even social services. This stigma can also erode self-esteem and create feelings of worthlessness, further complicating the struggle to escape poverty. Moreover, the poor are often systematically excluded from decision-making processes, further marginalizing them and limiting their ability to influence policies that directly affect their lives. This systemic exclusion makes it even harder for them to break free from the cycle of poverty. So you see, poverty isn't just about not having enough money, it's about not having enough opportunities. It's about facing systemic barriers and discrimination that keep people trapped in a cycle of poverty. It's about struggling every day with challenges that most of us can't even imagine. The poor face uphill battles at every turn, battling adversities most of us can't even imagine. Breaking free from poverty is no small feat, but it is possible. The journey out of poverty is like climbing a mountain. It's tough, grueling, but the view from the top makes every challenging step worth it. Let's discuss some strategies and resources that can help make this ascent possible. Education and skill development are the two most powerful tools in our poverty-fighting arsenal. Like a compass guiding us through unfamiliar terrain, they help navigate towards better economic opportunities. An educated individual is like a seed with the potential to grow into a mighty tree, providing shade and fruit to many. Skills, on the other hand, are like the water and sunlight required for the seed to flourish. They increase employability and open doors to better-paying jobs. But education is not just about formal schooling, it's about lifelong learning, about staying curious and constantly expanding your knowledge base. It's about learning practical skills like computer literacy or vocational training that can give you an edge in the job market. Now let's talk about some success stories, because sometimes the best way to break free from a cycle is to see that it's been done before. Consider the story of Ben Carson, a renowned neurosurgeon who was born into poverty but used education as his ladder to climb out. Or the story of Oprah Winfrey, who overcame a childhood of poverty and abuse to become a media mogul. Their journeys remind us that where we start does not dictate where we can go. But let's also remember the unsung heroes, the everyday individuals who break the cycle of poverty quietly, without the spotlight. They are the single parents who work multiple jobs to ensure their children get a good education, the young adults who juggle work and school to build a better future, the communities that come together to provide scholarships for their bright young minds. These stories, big and small, remind us that breaking the cycle of poverty is not just a pipe dream. It's a reality that can be achieved with dedication, resilience, and the right resources. With the right tools and determination, the cycle of poverty can be broken. Money management is an essential skill, especially for those on the brink of poverty. So, where do we start? Firstly, let's talk about budgeting. It's the process of creating a plan to spend your money. It allows you to determine in advance whether you will have enough money for the things you need or would like to do. A simple way to start budgeting is by listing your monthly income and expenses. This could help you identify unnecessary expenses and adjust your spending habits accordingly. Next, we move to saving. It's important to put aside a portion of your income regularly, no matter how small. This is your safety net for unexpected expenses and a stepping stone towards financial stability. Consider opening a savings account if you haven't already, and make it a habit to deposit a certain percentage of your income into this account each month. Managing finances effectively also involves understanding and controlling debt. It's crucial to avoid high-interest debt like credit cards as much as possible. If you're already in debt, prioritize paying it off. Remember, the longer you stay in debt, the more you're going to pay in interest. Now, let's touch upon the concept of investing. It might sound intimidating, especially if you're struggling financially, but it's a powerful tool for wealth creation. Start small. It could be investing in a skill that could get you a better job, or even putting a little money into a low-risk investment fund. At the heart of all these practices is financial literacy. It's the ability to understand and use various financial skills, including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. Financial literacy is crucial in making informed decisions about money that can lead to long-term stability and security. Remember, it's never too late to start learning about finances. There are numerous free resources available online to help you gain financial literacy. You don't need to be a Wall Street whiz to manage your money effectively, you just need to understand the basics. Financial literacy is not just about counting pennies, it's about building a secure future. So, let's start building yours today. Help is out there for those who need it. Navigating the world with limited resources can be overwhelming, but it's important to know that you're not alone in this journey. There are numerous resources available to assist individuals grappling with the challenges of poverty. Let's start with food assistance programs. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is a federal assistance program in the United States that provides eligible low-income individuals and families with funds to purchase food. Similarly, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, often known as WIC, offers nutrition education, healthy food, and support to low-income pregnant women, new mothers, and young children. Housing assistance is another critical resource. Programs like Section 8 provide rental assistance to low-income families, helping to bridge the gap between rent and income. Shelters and transitional housing programs also offer temporary accommodation to those in immediate need. Employment and job training programs can be a game changer for many. Organizations like Job Corps offer free education and vocational training to young people aged 16 to 24, helping them secure better job opportunities. Healthcare is a significant concern for many living in poverty. Medicaid, a state and federal program, provides free or low-cost health coverage to some low-income people, families and children, pregnant women, the elderly, and people with disabilities. Now, it's crucial to remember that reaching out for support is not a sign of weakness. It's quite the opposite. It's a step towards empowerment, towards breaking the cycle of poverty. There's no shame in needing help, and there's no shame in accepting it. So, reach out to these organizations, apply for these programs, use these resources. They are there for you. And remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. There are people, communities, and organizations ready and willing to lend a hand. Remember, seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a step towards empowerment. A change in mindset can be the catalyst for a change in circumstances. A truth to remember, especially when it comes to overcoming poverty. The battle against poverty isn't just about financial resources, it's also a war waged in the mind. The mindset we carry often dictates the life we lead. Now let's talk about how mindset shifts and self-belief play a crucial role in this journey. Imagine for a moment two people in the same dire economic situation. One person views their situation as a life sentence, while the other sees it as a temporary setback. The person who views it as a setback is more likely to take action to change their circumstances because they believe they can. They understand that their current situation doesn't dictate their future. They have the power to change their reality. This isn't about ignoring the harsh realities of poverty. It's about changing how we respond to them. It's about choosing to see opportunities instead of obstacles, potential instead of problems. It's about understanding that the road to overcoming poverty may be steep, but it's not impassable. And this is where resilience and determination come in. It's easy to feel disheartened, to lose hope when faced with the daunting task of climbing out of poverty. But remember, resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, and determination is the unwavering will to keep going despite the odds. Think of resilience as your mental armor, protecting you from the blows that life can throw at you, and determination? That's your fuel, propelling you forward, even when the road gets tough. These qualities are like muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they become. So how do you cultivate these qualities? Start by setting small, achievable goals. Celebrate every win, no matter how small. Surround yourself with positive influences, people who believe in your potential and encourage your progress. Learn from your mistakes and failures. They're not roadblocks, but stepping stones on your path to success. Believing in yourself is the first step towards overcoming poverty. Trust in your ability to change your circumstances. Have faith in your potential to rise above adversity. Remember, the journey may be tough, but every step you take brings you closer to your goal. Your mindset, your self-belief, your resilience, and your determination can indeed be your most potent weapons in the battle against poverty. We are stronger together. This phrase isn't just a catchy slogan, but a profound truth, especially when it comes to tackling the formidable foe that is poverty. The struggle against poverty isn't a solitary battle, it's a collective endeavor, a shared responsibility. Imagine a single thread. It's easily broken, right? But when you weave several threads together, they become a robust rope, capable of withstanding enormous pressure. Similarly, when we stand alone, we're vulnerable. But when we band together, we create a safety net, a network of support that can catch us when we fall. Community plays an integral role in this fight. It's within these smaller social structures that we find the strength to resist the crushing weight of poverty. We find comfort in shared experiences, solace in shared hardships. It's in the community where we can find a helping hand, a listening ear, a shoulder to lean on. Community support takes various forms. It could be a neighbor offering to babysit so a single mother can attend a job interview. It could be a local business providing apprenticeship opportunities for at-risk youth. It could be a group of individuals pooling resources to fund a community garden, providing access to fresh, healthy food. But it's not just about receiving support, it's also about giving it. If you're in a position to help, extend your hand. Share your knowledge, your skills, your resources. Your actions can create ripples of change that can transform lives and eventually, entire communities. Remember, poverty isn't just an individual problem, it's a societal issue. It's a monster that feeds on isolation and despair. But together, we can starve it of its power. We can break the cycle, disrupt the status quo, and write a new narrative for ourselves and for our communities. In the fight against poverty, every helping hand makes a difference. So, reach out. Whether you're offering support or seeking it, remember that every connection, every act of kindness, every gesture of solidarity brings us one step closer to a world free from the shackles of poverty. We have explored the many facets of poverty and how to combat it. We've delved into the harsh truth that poverty is not merely an economic condition, but a complex interplay of social, psychological, and systemic factors. We've unmasked the stereotypes, revealing the real faces and stories of those grappling with this issue daily. We've seen how poverty creates a relentless cycle, a whirlwind that entraps generations, and the emotional toll it takes on those caught in its grip. The challenges are numerous, from access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities, to the systemic barriers and discrimination faced by marginalized communities. Yet, through it all, we've also highlighted the possibilities for change. We've discussed the importance of education and skill development in breaking the cycle of poverty, emphasizing the role of financial literacy in building long-term stability. We've shared success stories, shining a light on the resilience, determination, and self-belief that can fuel the journey out of poverty. We've underscored that support is available, from local and national resources to community organizations and government agencies. It's crucial to seek help when needed, to utilize these lifelines that have been put in place to assist those striving for a better life. But the journey doesn't end there. Overcoming poverty also requires a shift in mindset. It's about fostering resilience, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief in one's abilities. And let's not forget, the power of community and social support, the strength that comes from unity and mutual aid. Now it's time for action. Seek support, advocate for systemic change, empower yourself through education and skill building. Immerse yourself in further learning, utilize the resources we've discussed, and never stop believing in your capacity to rise above. Remember, the fight against poverty starts with understanding, empathy, and action. It's a battle that requires collective effort, a shared commitment to creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. With knowledge as our weapon and compassion as our guide, we can make a difference. Let's start today.